All right. It's been a minute, guys, but we are live July 23rd, 2023, 8 o'clock on the dot. And obviously, everybody's here because we all want to listen to Sean and I about the new live stream of OU Flag Guy X, because that's what it's turning it. No, it's not. No, it's. I just had to throw that in there. Sean,
Well, you're on
how
the
you
wrong
doing?
you're on the wrong website to make that joke. So
Oh, that's true. But I laughed at everybody adding the X at the end and adding the Mega Man X theme. It was great. Sean, how you doing today? Have you seen Barbie or Oppenheimer? That's what we're really here to
I
know.
was not a good American. I didn't see either, but it didn't need my help. So I
No, it didn't.
I'm
Help.
I mean I'm sure I'm sure Nolan is not thrilled that he lost to the
Barbie.
Barbie movie. But the Barbie movie had all the hype in the world behind it. You see, this is
Yeah.
what see the Barbie movie is what happens when people aren't being sarcastic about seeing the movie. They were serious about it. Like
Yeah.
people were sarcastic about making Morbius a thing, and unfortunately, Sony fell for that.
Correct.
I know
Correct.
this is like this is the biggest
This is
Warner
the
Brother.
opposite.
This is the biggest Warner Brothers movie release since the Batman.
Yeah.
With
Well, it's one of the biggest movies in general release, because they said, look at Mission Impossible, Transformers. They failed based on what it was.
yeah,
This is exploded. And they're like, why? I'm like, because it's not connected to anything. It's just a fun
she's
movie.
a Barbie girl, and we're just living in her world.
Exactly. Exactly. I had a friend, go see Oppenheimer on Thursday, and I talked to him very briefly about it. And he's like, I'm going to be honest, 0 out of 10. I went, really? A 0 out of 10?
I don't think it's a first of all, it's a Christopher Nolan movie. It's not a 0 out of 10. That
Right.
that's complete and utter bullshit. 0 out of 10. Like
Right. He's never given that, though. And I was like, what was the word of mouth? Like, was this really just critics who liked it? And he's like, nope. He's like, the bomb was CGI. It wasn't real. 0 out of 10. I'm like, you're a dumbass. He had me going for a sec, like he terribly hated the movie.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Well, I'm just not in the mood to going to see a movie about like dude builds the atom bomb. Just I'm
yeah,
not really. That's not my in my wheelhouse at the
it's in
moment.
mine, but I like that type of political thriller slash
Oh, don't get me
horror.
wrong. I like those too, but I'm just not in the mindset. I don't want to go see depressing open like where it's like
Yeah.
I'm just that's just not my.
Well, that's why everybody recommended, if you're going to do back to back, go see Oppenheimer first, because you'll need the uplifting from Barbie. I would see Barbie first because I want something entertaining.
I
And
just
Margot
laugh.
Robbie's pretty fantastic.
I just laugh at all the people telling on themselves about how woke Barbie is or whatever labels
Yeah.
they give it. Dude, it's the Barbie movie. What did you expect conservative values in the Barbie movie? Like
Yes.
Barbie has evolved over the years, and Barbie is about girls like being able to be whatever they want.
Did they miss the entire line of like pilot Barbie, or office Barbie? I guess they missed that every single year release.
The only Barbie I know is tour guide Barbie from like Toy Story
Toy
2.
Story. Yeah, yeah. I had friends who legitimately dressed up and went to the film, but then again, I had an acquaintance from my
The
politics area.
the
He's like,
greatest
well,
the
everybody was dressed up.
greatest thing I've seen is like some places, I think like LA had like an empty Barbie box where you could like pose inside like one of the
Yeah,
dolls.
yeah,
My favorite one, someone set up a fake Kirk and Spock, where
yeah,
Spock
yeah.
was in like at the end of Star Trek 2, they're at the con, and I'm like, who did this?
Yeah.
That was fantastic. So
I laughed. I was like, that was great. I saw that too, and I legitimately went, ha! It was good. They came
I
up
mean,
brilliantly on that one.
enjoy movies while you can, because the entertainment industry is doing everything they can to destroy
Yep,
everything.
they are.
So
Hey, it's Killers of the Flower Moon, man. We still got that in a couple months. Otherwise, backlog it for the next couple years. Luckily, I have my anime, so I'm okay with this. Speaking of that,
you have that. Okay.
you do too, but you're not going to watch the live action One Piece, because it looks bad.
Well, no, because One Piece has no business being live action, and I'm sorry, like I see all these no one's watching this anyway. But
all whopping 3 people.
Yeah, and no one's watching this. The problem with One Piece, like all the One Piece community is like, yeah, I'm all behind this. Yeah, it's like, oh, you're all just like suckers for the property at this point. It's like, I'm sorry, Arlong looks like shit.
Yeah,
it looks awful. The CG looks terrible.
Intimidating.
There is no way this is not going past 1 year, 1 season. Regardless of the strike or not, it is not going past 1 year. They are not, like, I know what storylines they're all doing based on all the trailers. They're going up to the end of Arlong. Yeah. They may or may not go to Rogue Town, but regardless, it's
it good. Look, I'm not.
No, everyone looks like, if you're a human-based character, you look like, oh, you're trying to win the cosplay at like Anime Expo or Otakon. If you're not a human-based character, it's a crapshoot. It's just,
to be fair, Buggy looks good. I
disagree with that entirely. I don't think Buggy looks good.
See, I thought he looked good because he's supposed to look like trash, and I'm like, they got it on point.
No, everyone's trying to do. We have to do the Joker makeup. Literally, he has to be the Joker. He can't just be anyway. I could rant on this for an hour, but the 2 people who are here don't want to hear us talk about that for an hour. So
fine, they don't want to hear about One Piece and how it's going to be garbage.
Because they don't want. Yeah,
we could talk sports ball, I guess. Sean, obviously on Friday, after a presentation that rivaled LeBron James's decision, Taylor Tatum is our
first of all, no, it's not. So you're being overdramatic.
No, it was ridiculous.
No, you're being overdramatic from that. It's a wrong comparison.
I get the difference between a high schooler doing it versus LeBron, a professional.
That's not what it is. That's not what that is, though. You're making a terrible. I'm just being blunt with you. That's a terrible comparison. It literally felt like I was watching bonus material from a Friday Night Lights DVD, whether it's the TV show or the movie. That's what it felt like I was watching. So, like, they filmed this big high school commitment thing. Like, they would film it and they would use it on as background noise for an opening scene. Well, Permian or Dylan Panther, they just lost their best player. He's going on to Oklahoma. It's like, so I felt like we watched the uncut version behind the scenes of something like that, because I literally expected Buddy Garrity to show up, because that shit was so East Texas.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, that we have commercials. We got like RJ trailers, dude. I'm all about RJ trailers, man. Let's fucking go. We got girls spinning on the horse, jewelry commercial. Yeah, you spin that horse, lady. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah.
Like, it was. Look,
it's a bunch of coaches and a bunch of old guys who used to play at the high school who made it all about them.
You thought that too, because I was like, I feel like Taylor wanted it to be like 10 minutes. Now, to be fair, like I said, if it's their moment, I'm not going to take away from their moment. Let them enjoy it. But it really felt like that for like 20 minutes. It was the old players like, we topped this guy. Oh, remember the time I did this and scored 5 touchdowns in one game?
It was literally
weird.
It's like whenever people put out a commitment, it's going to start at this time. Nothing is more annoying when it takes. If you take over 10 minutes, you're too long. Because the 24/7 show from the commitment before last, I think, it was for the defensive lineman. It was for Jan Jackson. That they made you watch the entire 24/7 stream and talk about recruit. Now, granted, it was a lot of OU stuff on there, so it wasn't boring or anything. It's like, here's a bunch of guys that might go to OU, and I like OU here. Like, I was like, okay, this is good. But man, it just took forever to get to that shit. It's just like,
absolutely. It was painful. And like I said, I don't blame it. And maybe that's what he wanted. Because when they're like, oh, he's about to decide. But Mom, what do you think? We don't care.
I mean, I'm not complaining. At the end of the day, we got a 5-star running back and beat out USC for him head to head. So
correct.
There was like 1% of me that was a little nervous when you saw that, like, that reveals, like, that's an oddly shaped hat. Like, what the hell is under there? And it's like, this isn't going to be like some fucking sword and helmet USC thing, like Swerve, is it? And thankfully it wasn't. It was like a football and a hat. I was like, fuck, because like that's oddly shaped. I don't know what this is.
But I mean, to be fair, I don't blame you for thinking that because we've been burned in the past.
It's like oh god, is it gonna be a Swerve? Has he betrayed us? It's like no, we're good.
No, he saw Lincoln Riley's tuna wrapped in cat food and went, "I'm good." No, but so the journey though with Taylor Tatum.
Well, you got to hear this first because
sure.
The USC boards, like USC's got a decent class. Like Riley's always
in meltdown mode.
No, the best post we saw, or that I saw, from the Discord was like, God, what was it? Oh my god, I blanked.
Was it there one reporter who kept on tripling
down?
No.
It was god damn, I gotta find it now. I totally blanked on it. It was so funny. Gotta find it. God, it's gotta be in here.
Well,
somewhere.
while you're doing that though, it's his journey basically.
Oh, here it is. This is the post. I was like, because I couldn't think of it. It's like USC's compliance department is an issue. They're complaining about compliance. That's what they're complaining about.
Fantastic.
Boy, has that
before.
I know, right? Well, there was one specific person in the OU fan base who would bitch about compliance left and right. So it's just really hilarious that someone else is doing it on the other side.
And that's so half of me's like, is he trolling or he really believes that? And the other half is Lincoln doing that much shit where even the compliance at USC is going, now hold up. Like
no, it's nothing. It's just everyone complains about there's always a reason. There's always a complaint why things aren't going well. Things are trending in the right direction for OU, and they have the quote unquote number 15 overall class right now, but their biggest
average is like 9th, right? Though, like on scores.
I mean, it is what it is, but like the point I'm getting to is like our biggest fish are yet to come.
Yeah,
so
maybe announce when.
Yeah, August or September. I mean, there's rumors about Winari about either the 1st or the week of the 7th, and like most of these guys are trying to make decisions before their seasons, so they kind of have to do it within the next month for that to happen. I have no idea when David Stone is going to actually do something. Nigel Smith is going to be September 4th or 8th. I think it's the 8th. It's one of those days. Actually, I have it right here. So it's the 8th. So yeah, I think that's like that's like a first game or something. I don't know. There's so many like guys that are upcoming with dates that I'm trying to like keep track of what the reasons are. There's one linebacker that's going to fit in September. I think it's Platt because it's his mom's birthday or whatever. And we're fighting tooth and nail with Oregon for him. I would like to get him because we're not lacking for linebackers at the moment, but you're trying to build depth, so quality depth, and it's
well, and one real fast while I'm thinking of it on the backup just a tiny bit. I think the big thing that everyone kind of got an indication of with Taylor Tatum was the moment of about baseball. Like kudos to Skip for really like saying like this is how it is. My understanding is Riley said he wasn't going to play dual sports. Like this is it. You play football.
No.
I don't know how true that is. But
that's not what. No, he was. The problem was he was all about dual sports, but I was the one who made this happen. And it's like no. And Skip Johnson said, "No, fuck you. I'm the one who made it happen. I'm the baseball coach."
Yeah.
I may not be the football coach, but like Skip Johnson laid it out to Taylor Tatum and his family. This is what Kyler did. This was his schedule, and we can make something very similar for you. And this is how you won't be stressed out, and you'll be able to maintain. You'll be able to, like, there'll be certain days where you'll be more football, certain days you'll be more baseball. This is how it works, and blah 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 blah. And so I think that really sold it for him. Plus,
because he had something in front of him.
Well, yeah, he had that. He's closer to home, and it's just, like here's the baseball coach saying this is how it works. So, I think everyone knows, like, football is going to be a priority, and Skip realizes that, and it's like, I will gladly, like, the only issue you're going to have is that there might be a day where it's like, all right, Taylor, you may or may not play the spring game next year. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like, hey, all good things there. So
exactly, and he understands, like, who cares if he plays the spring game? Like, he's going to be playing.
Well, the problem was it was the problem with Kyler. He was the damn quarterback. So you kind of want your QB to, like, play in that game unless he's hurt or doing surgery and can't do anything. But I'm not going to be like the running back room. Like, imagine, like, think about where we were a year or two ago. Like, remember when we were like, please don't let Kennedy Brooks get hurt?
Yeah. Because we discussed it every week of, well, if he gets hurt though, and it never
Marcus
happened.
Major didn't have grades, like the the kid who ended up going to LSU because he missed his girlfriend or whatever and turned out to be a bust there. It was like, good God, how are we going to handle this? And now, like, our running back room is pretty stacked. And and Taylor Tatum is like, there's been like 2 comps to Taylor Tatum so far on the field. One is J.K. Dobbins, one is Joe Mixon. I don't think he's
very much a different.
I don't think he's Joe Mixon, but I could totally see J.K. Dobbins in college, not J.K. Dobbins in the NFL. People are, J.K. Dobbins. No, shut up. He ran for 2,000. He ran for 2,000 yards in a season at Ohio State. I would take that player any day of the goddamn week if you give me J.K. Dobbins.
Right.
Like, Riley was trying to recruit J.K. Dobbins and didn't get him. So
how many? I mean, in all seriousness, how many busts is that now for Riley on the big stars that they're like, no, we're not going to play under you like that? This is the 5th one, isn't it?
Well, the problem for Riley is that he peaked early. Like, there's this whole, like, Mike Farrell did a thing of, like, the most overrated coaches, and he put Riley on that list. And, like, whenever you look at Riley's successes, like, it was always closer to Bob. And when Riley was just focusing on running the offense, Riley's a hell of a coordinator. Riley's a good coach in that department. Him running a program, like,
it's not good.
Like, he was handed the keys to a Ferrari or a Corvette or whatever sports car analogy you want to make. But the problem was the motherfucker, like, I had the keys to the Ferrari, but he didn't change the oil. He didn't, like, check the radiator. He didn't get the radiator flushed. He didn't, like, rotate the tires. That was kind of the problem. Like, you get handed the keys to something, and it's just like, okay. All right.
I mean, you and I discussed it. So did Andrew on our live streams, 2 years ago, last year as his head coach here, where we said, look, he can still be the head coach, but he's got to bring someone in to help out with the offense because it's clearly he cannot do in-game management. We've discussed it. And it's very clear that
the offense for the offense for the most part was fine.
But he took his foot off the pedal.
Well, there was that, and it was also the fact that when he ran into a defense that actually had teeth, it shut it down. Like, Kyler, all Bama had to do was shut down Kyler Murray for a quarter, and it didn't matter because OU was never going to catch up to Bama. Ever.
Correct. They took their foot off the pedal.
I saw it in front of me. It's like, well, Kyler's able to do things now. They made adjustments and they did things, and CeeDee Lamb was awesome, but you can't.
That was such a talent mismatch at that point for him. But that falls back to what Andrew said to me at dinner like 3 days ago. Riley didn't develop his players. And when you look at the players he recruited versus Bob's on the true recruitment, his players have not panned out in the NFL at all.
Riley got some guys, and you could say whether they did. I mean, they were, when we had Schmitty here, guys were developed in the offseason. But when Bob was like just the consistent machine of like, okay, we're gonna consistently be solid. We'll have a down year every 3 or 4, but we'll bounce back. We're gonna win the Big 12. Bob could get blood from a stone from those 3-star guys. They weren't going to be superstars. They weren't guaranteed to be anything special, but dude would get the most out of those guys.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
They would fall in front of a semi truck essentially. Like they would do everything up to like he got them convinced that they could do things that they obviously could, but needed that inspiration. They needed to be inspired for it.
Like the Brody Eldridges of the world and stuff like that. So it's just, and so like every year we all get enamored with our recruiting classes. Like, oh my God, this guy could do this, or this guy could do this, or this guy could do this. And the truth of the matter is, you're guaranteed to have minimum maybe half your class, maybe 10 guys in your class just be okay or not really do anything or get hurt all the time. You want to have half to 60% of your class be viable guys on your roster. They don't all have to be superstars, but you need them to be viable guys in your roster.
Correct.
Like, I went my little Twitter kind of like rant the other day. I said, just I'm not even just talking about the top. Go look at the 2019 class and see how many forget like forget the 5 stars that just didn't pan out. However you want to define not panning out. Look at the guys who just didn't do anything, regardless of their star rating.
And that's what I was mentioning earlier.
That's why Brent had an issue last year, because those 2019 guys in 2022, those are supposed to be your upperclassmen, and they weren't fucking there, or they were dog shit. That ain't Brent's fault.
Correct. So, who am I thinking of from last year who I kept hearing the same rumors over, like he's doing just enough to stay on scholarship, but he's lazy.
Oh, Bray Walker, yeah.
Bray Walker, he's doing
5-star Bray Walker at 2 lead feet.
Yeah, they're like he didn't want to play for Venables, but he had nowhere to transfer to. So it's like, I'm just gonna go through the motions. Well, you're hurting your team, man. Like you're not being a team player.
I mean,
he didn't want to be there.
I mean, he was a body on the roster. That's great. This is your top 5.
I can be a body for a roster.
This is your top 5 class for 2019. Let's look at the guys who actually did shit. Radler did not live up to 5-star hype. Sorry.
No, he did not.
Jaden Hazelwood. People shit on Hazelwood. I'm gonna say he was a solid receiver. He just wasn't a 5-star.
He was a
Theo Weiss. It just no. Trajan Bridges. We all know what happened there.
Nothing.
Stogner, solid damn tight end. I'm glad to have him back. He left, but he came back.
And it took him a year to really feel into that role of tight end, but finally he dropped so much that it was driving me nuts in his freshman year, and he got it corrected over there.
All right. So Stacy Wilkins, bust. EJ Ogart, bust. Marcus Stripling, I'm still waiting. I mean, everyone else, Marcus Stripling gonna do. I was like, I'm still waiting. Ramondre Stevenson, ding, ding, ding. JUCO transfer at running back. He did something. Jane Davis had a promising start to his freshman year and then fell off a cliff. Jeremiah Cradell, injuries. Joseph Weta, no. Jamal Morris, no. Woody Washington, ding, 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 ding. There's one. Marcus Major. If it's a bowl game against Florida during COVID, he's great. David Agwebu.
Oh, so what you're saying, he's what's his face in fantasy, where it's like he's the week 1 wonder and then he falls off the map. That's basically the same comparison.
David Agwebu, consistent starter, but was a liability at points. Jonathan Perkins and Corey Roberson. Corey Roberson was a guy that I expected to do something, but just didn't. LeRon Stokes was a solid backup. Finley Felix and Marcus Alexander, Marcus Hicks. Ty Diarman, no. Derek Green, he was on, and then you had a couple transfers. RJ Proctor was okay. And then you got Jalen Hurts, who came in as a transfer. So who did I name off the top of my head for this class that did something that you? Ramondre Stevenson, who you felt did something. Austin Stogner, Woody Washington. That's 3. I'll put Aguebo at 4 because he was a consistent starter. I'm not gonna rip him.
Okay,
I'm not gonna rip him that he wasn't great. He was a 3-star guy composite. He was a consistent starter. I'll give him that.
He played exactly as a 3-star is expected.
But look at it. But look at how little impact. I mean, if you want to give Radler led us to a Big 12 title in 20, so I'll give Radler that, and I'll even give it to Hazelwood a little bit. But it's like
he made some clutch catches.
Yes,
he's not a 5-star.
But goddamn, that 2019 class just did not live up to anything that we were expecting it to be.
Yeah, they're bust.
So, like, all those guys should have been at least nothing. So,
yeah,
look at the highly rated guys from 21. Like, one guy, obviously, was legit, who's now a Heisman winning quarterback elsewhere. Mario Williams is, I mean, I think he's talented, but it's like he's not setting the world. I mean, Jordan Addison was the big guy everyone was pointing to last year for SC because he was the big star. You know, Latrell McCutcheon, he transferred to SC, then he's gone from there too.
His dad's still bitching about it to this day.
Yeah, so you followed the guy that you criticized on Twitter, so good job there, Mr. McCutcheon. So yeah, like again, like the erosion was there, and like it was like everyone's trying to say, "Oh, so Brent gets no criticism." It's like there's these asshole douchebags, like this literal dickhead. I mean, literal. His head looks like a dick. Some douchebag from Vegas or Nevada or whatever, who's like, "Oh, so we're just settling for this? We're just making excuses now?" They're not excuses if it's fucking fact. He had no depth. Brent walked in. He can't wave a fucking magic wand. Now, as I said before, did I think they could win 9 or 10 games? Yeah, but it was a lot worse than we thought. And Brent tried to warn us, and Gerald McCoy tried to warn us too. So It's not like this. It's like I had hope. I'm a glass half full guy with this team. I try to think positively. So it's just, but no, like Brent's not singing that tune this year. He's not singing the tune of, oh, we got a little work to do. Brent's smiling, but it's the good type of smiling where he's like, I think we might be a pretty good football team this year. So now we'll see if he's just bullshitting us or we actually get to see what this team looks like in about 6 weeks. But I think I think they'll roll through their non-conference okay. I mean, people are going to point to SMU as a tough game, sure, in the non-conference.
I don't think it is.
I'm not sitting here saying they're going to lose or anything. I'm just saying it's a decent test. It's not Georgia, but it's
right.
But it's like, okay, you get my only disappointment is that's going to go head to head with the Texas Bama game, pretty much. So you'll watch an hour of OU-SMU, and maybe if they beat them down in the first half, like then we can just watch Texas Bama at the same time. But who else they got in the conference? Tulsa, that's right.
You mean our 7th home game?
Yeah, pretty much. You just go up the road a little bit to the city.
Man, me and Gavin and Andrew are going to go to that game. Possibly, maybe. And we were looking at tickets. Man, Tulsa charging out the nose. They wanted like 125. We're like, my dudes. I know it's going to be mostly OU fans, but my dudes.
Well, yeah.
Like, you're killing us.
Well, like, just talking about like Brent's doing a pretty decent job of like reclaiming the state a little bit for recruiting.
That Xavier one's a huge win.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you another thing. If the next 6 weeks, or if we get to September and all the crystal balls go our way when it comes to some of these defensive linemen, I'm going to scream to the fucking rafters of all the fucking pricks who lost their shit at that in-state D lineman that went to Oregon. Oh my God! It's like, I just want to kill those people. Like,
because they're not realistic on it. Like they're it's the same thing. Like,
this is just like you realize the big fish we're in on, right? Oh, but Big says, oh, this is like they're so. I hate these people so much. So
and he's not even like.
I need Winari. I need Stone. Listen, of all the guys, we're probably getting Nigel Smith regardless at this point. Nigel Smith, of the ones that are like the most confident right now, it's Nigel Smith.
Yeah.
But even that's not good enough for some people. But if you could give me Stone and Winari, like, I'll be so goddamn happy. Like, there is actually a chance. Like, it's just little by. This is like chipping away little by little, going in our favor.
Yeah.
Worse, there is a chance we might get Dominic McKinley out of Louisiana. And that
would be a solid win. Like,
it would be like the biggest recruiting win in like the history of this program in like 2 decades. You don't take a 5-star defensive lineman out of Louisiana. That doesn't fucking happen.
No, it doesn't.
So it's like solid. It's more than solid. Like if that happens, I will be like, I know I'm already obnoxious, but I'll be even more obnoxious on whatever you call this, whatever you're going to call Twitter tomorrow or next week or whatever. If we get 3-5, like, could you imagine SEC year 2024? Your potential starting front four is 5-star PJ Adebawore, 5-star David Stone, 5-star Nigel Smith, 5-star Dominic McKinley.
God, that's amazing.
I would publicly masturbate on stream during my watch-alongs. I would get kicked off and lose my channel, but it'd be worth it just to bust a.
Because it would be the biggest D-line we've had.
Sack Alabama's quarterback! Oh my god! Skate! So crude tonight. I don't care.
What happened?
I know if you have family watching, I so apologize for that.
No, they're tired, man. They are not tonight.
You can just delete this then.
Okay. I'll just edit that part out and just jump it.
And I haven't even mentioned Danny Okoye yet, so I haven't even mentioned him.
That's true.
Like I think we're gonna get him, but like that will shut up the in-state. We don't get in-state kids people for at least a minute.
The one that still makes me laugh the most still is, and it's not even football. It's I just forgot it. Never mind.
Wow, good job.
I forgot it. Yep, that's my brain, man.
Good job, brain. You're welcome.
But I mean, we're rocking at recruiting, and
I don't know. Caden Durham might go to LSU, so
right. I mean,
but dude, we got Taylor Tatum and we got Xavier Robinson. That's a good running back duo for the class, anyway. So I ain't gonna. I would like to have Caden Durham. I would really like to have him, but if it doesn't happen, it's like, all right, okay.
Have we lost out on anyone at that? We were like,
sure, we wanted Bryant Wesco, wide receiver, and he went to Clemson. So a lot of people bitched about that too. Dude, we have so much speed in this wide receiver class.
Yeah,
it's insane. Now some of those guys are quote unquote undersized, but dude, like the speed we have in this wide receiver class with Raggins and all those guys, it's like like Zion Kearney is the guy who's like the centerpiece of this receiver group that we got going on here. But
yeah,
Zion's
a good pickup too.
Oh, I haven't even we
haven't even talked about that.
Oh yeah. Well, we have 2 Zions. We have Zion Raggins. Like people confuse like Kearney and Raggins because they're both named Zion and they spell it the same way. But we have Davon Mitchell, of course, was awesome. Like another guy in fucking Riley's backyard too. From the same high school he stole a bunch of our recruits from the previous class from, which is like really hilarious.
Do you think rumors are starting to get around to Riley, like he's not a good coach, or like he's kind of the NFL? Like
I listen, Riley is not a bad coach. Here's like I need to like separate certain things. With my hatred for the man. We don't hate the man because he sucks.
Yeah.
if he really sucked like we thought, like to the extent we thought he sucked, we would not be as pissed off when he left. Now you can have a better, understanding of why things weren't working out, but it's like, I would love to have Caleb Williams on this team right now. All due respect to Jackson Arnold and all due respect to Dylan Gabriel. I would love to have Caleb Williams still on this team. But guess what? Like, as I mentioned like the other day, it's like we lived and died off of superhero quarterback play.
And
like the 17 and 18 teams were still solid teams, but the more you got away from Bob and the more you relied on superhero quarterback play. I mean, Exhibit A, the West Virginia game in 21 with Rattler, Exhibit A. We did not have superhero quarterback play.
Yeah.
And then it's like, we want Caleb started.
Yeah.
And then you get to Texas, and then we needed superhero quarterback play to come back and win.
To get the best, probably top 5 OU Texas games of all time.
Shit, the best OU Texas game of all time, pretty much.
I continue to say it, man. It's the one game I said that those last 16 minutes are some of the best as a fan I've ever been to. Like, it's hard.
It's hard for people to go back and watch that game because it's weird now. It's awkward.
Oh, I can't. I can go back and watch it for sole reason of just not even just being there, but it's OU Texas. I can get over it. I'm biased in that respect, though.
I mean, I grabbed a few clips here and there for things, but I can't have
one game Riley cared about because he knew he'd be.
He couldn't lose that game. He would get like, tarred and feathered. He knew he couldn't lose that game. He had to do everything. He had to pull every weapon he had out of the chest.
Yep.
So it's just now. He stopped giving a shit on his bye week when he went and talked to USC about getting a new job. But like the narrative no one's going to talk about because he has national puppets like working for him.
Joel Klatt.
No, Colin. I mean, Joel Klatt's there.
Colin.
No, Joel Klatt's got to pull double duty with Riley and Jim Harbaugh. Like, you gotta pull double duty with Harbaugh because it took Harbaugh like 8 years to get to the playoff, and now he's the new Riley because he gets to the playoff and doesn't win.
Right.
Like, could you imagine like you get to the playoff and you get TCU and you're like, yeah, okay, we can win this game, we got this, and then you just like shit brick like in the first half, and it takes everything just to get back, and you're blaming referees and you're blaming replays for why you lost that game because it was a touchdown, but you couldn't punch it in from the 1 yard line and you fumble the ball and give it back to him. And, and it's like, well, it's like, dude, you had it on the 1 yard line inside the one and you fumbled the ball. Like Michigan fans live in this world. It's like, well, we should have beat TCU. And then if Ohio State makes that kick, we go to the national title game and win. No, that's not how that worked. But we beat Ohio State. We beat Ohio State. Yeah, and LSU beat Alabama in 2011. They had a rematch, and guess what happened?
Well, and it's the same people who say
Ohio State, in my opinion, would have whooped Michigan a second chance. You could rip Ryan Day. Like, they don't have Marvin Harrison Jr. and everything. Like, that's what killed them. Jackson Smith and Jigma gets hurt week 1 against Notre Dame. He's all his people around him, his inner circle, tell him don't play. He doesn't play. Like, he doesn't play in the semifinal against Georgia. I'm here to tell you right now, if you have healthy Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jackson Smith and Jigma, like, Ohio State was a kick away from winning that thing.
Yeah. And I mean, Andrew's talking
like about Ohio State was Ohio State was a kick away from winning the national title.
Yeah.
Because TCU ain't beating Ohio State.
Well, and that's something I wanted to address too. Is I still keep seeing the TCU people of, well, it was a month later. If we would have played them the following week, I'm like, guys, you're not understanding. NFL talent is better than your 3-star 5th-year COVID players.
Georgia players were eating chicken wings on the sideline in that game. That really happened. That's not a joke.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
They were eating chicken wings in the third quarter.
Because
that's the ultimate sign of like they just bitch slapped you around.
Yeah, and that's why we're leaving the conference, because regardless of what people think on it, yes, some of it's money. They're forward thinking we're not going to get these recruits. It's
about money. Let's be honest here.
Well, yeah, it's about money. But we saw that with Taylor Tatum of I want to go play in the best conference. We got the magic SEC patch powers.
I know.
I'm so happy.
They're starting to work, and now Brent's got to win some games this year. And
right. You got it. You got to be able to cash the check. Yes, and I understand
Brent,
that. But
if Brent could just win the Big 12, I don't care anything else that he does. If he could just win the Big 12, I mean, if you go to a New Year's Six and you play somebody or whatever, fine. And just play somebody, fine.
Yeah.
I don't expect to make the playoff this year.
I don't either.
Because OU, in a perfect scenario, OU could run the table with this schedule. However, it's college football. Guys get hurt. There's certain parts of the team that if they get dinged up, we're in trouble. And so it's like, I just don't see this team with a loss. We don't have the schedule to say we lost a game and still sneak in this thing. We just don't. We would need I know there's so many. We had to see it with the rest of college football. The thing with college football this year, there's only one team with like a legit returning quarterback that everyone knows, and it's like JJ McCarthy at Michigan. Everyone else is replacing quarterbacks, and so I mean, and USC and Caleb at USC. I don't want to forget him, but it's like they have a tougher task, in my opinion, because one, Utah, Kyle Whittingham owns him at the moment, and I think the Pac-12 is the best it's been in a while. That's something that's something no one's really talking about. Everyone's making fun of the Pac-12 for their TV deal drama. The Pac-12 in its final year, the way it is right now, Oregon's good. UCLA is probably going to be good. Utah's still going to be good. Colorado's going to be awful, regardless of who's coaching them. They'll be interesting, I guess, but they're going to be terrible. Yeah. But I mean, it's not going to be a walk in the park. Like, Riley does not have an easy schedule this year.
Yeah.
So,
well, and Caleb has to do.
If Caleb tweaks his hammy or something, he's screwed.
Yeah. Or faces Utah.
Well, no, I just don't think you don't have you can tell me you got Bear Alexander all you want. If Bear Alexander was worth a shit, he would not have left Georgia. I'm sorry. Bear Alexander, if Bear Alexander was a guy who was worth a shit, I don't think he leaves Georgia. He's just this big 5-star guy. He's just leaving Georgia. Like that, to me, that's a red flag right there. I don't care about playing time or depth or whatever. Dude, if you're a dude, you play at Georgia. You're in the rotation. You're going to play. So you say, we got Bear Alexander. All right. I don't mean anything. He hasn't done shit. So, dude had every opportunity in the world to make an impact or do something. He's done it. So, trust me, if we get all these guys that we're projected to get at the moment, those guys will have every opportunity next year. You don't think PJ Habari is gonna have every opportunity this year? Like PJ, PJ has to do is get on the edge and go find the football. That's all he has to do. All he has to do is go get the football, and he's got the speed and agility to keep up with guys in the backfield trying to turn around and make he can turn on a dime.
Sorry.
So
well, he's going to be a starter by the end of the year. Let's be honest. It's only a
PJ will start by the end of the year. In my opinion.
I don't know when.
He'll probably start by Texas for all we know.
He's good. I'm
just thinking of PJ Adebari's sacking.
I laughed at your
god, so great.
Twitter moment for when you said they're just doing all these behind the scenes footage just so you can see how massive PJ is. It's not even about the behind the scenes. It's we're seeing PJ the one criticism you could have given PJ this past January or for the Under Armour game, his upper body was a little lacking. Yeah,
not in that video. His arms got swollen just a little bit more.
He got swole.
He's gonna be such a beast this year. It is like, oh
Yeah.
my god, he is gonna be everyone's favorite player.
Yeah, he is. But I mean, we've been waiting for that though for how long? And that's the funny thing too. You not to go back to the.
Well, he's going to be like a bigger. He's going to be like a bigger, scarier Nick Benito, dude. That's what he's going to be.
And more talented too. Like, oh, I can't. Yeah, he's gonna be good. He gonna be good. The thing I keep laughing at is what on the USC stuff. Them too. We're just waiting for the recruits to get in. It'll be fine. I'm like, where have I heard that before? Oh yeah, it was us all the time.
How many times have I gotten in on camera on my channel and said that shit?
A lot. Same here.
Like, I said, just give it time, man. Just give it time. Give it time. We can do this. And I started I drank the Kool-Aid because I started seeing 5-stars sign with our program or be interested in our program. Okay, it's finally happening. It's finally happening. It's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening because they can't develop or shit.
Correct.
Especially the defensive side of the football.
Correct. I mean, recruiting's great right now. You can see it on camera. The player development's good. It's what you said. They have to go out there and they have to cash the check.
I'm really interested to see what the D-line is going to do this year because we're all kind of salivating at what the potential for the class is going to be this year. But you got guys like Ashton Sanders who are being talked up by some guys. Like Dejon Terry is another guy that is being talked up a little bit. So I'm not expecting them to be like, guaranteed first team all Big 12, although that's not much of a stretch if you really stop and think about it. But I mean, if you could be player of the week, player of the month type of guy every so often, just like it's just the middle of that defense is where it needs the most help. And I think Brent's really because Peyton Bowen is living up to the hype as of right now.
Who do you like? Here's a dumb question. You're mentioning Peyton Bowen. Dumb question. Who do you think will lose their job by the middle of the year? Because we're talking about PJ Peyton. Who do you think's not going to be a starter by the middle of the year? Maybe the end of the year.
I don't know if anyone's going to lose their job per se because.
Someone has to lose their job to let PJ in.
Who has it now? Who's got it now?
Even I don't know.
He
may be a starter day one. Who knows?
Where's my depth chart? Who are we talking about here? Where's PJ at RA? I know Rondell Bothroyd, and I know a lot of people are big on Rondell Bothroyd, the other transfer from Wake Forest. Ethan Downs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what side of the ball he would be on. Like, would it be Ethan Downs? Would it be Rondell Bothroyd? Oh, Rondell Bothroyd just is a 1-year rental anyway.
Yeah.
These are projections. Like, Jordan Kelly and Isaiah Coe at D tackle. You got Sears and Terry backing both of those up respectively.
Yeah.
Stutzman at linebacker, Jaron Kennick at linebacker. Connor Neer is being talked up a lot. The D2, not FCS, D2 transfer from was it Ferris State or something like that?
Oh, that's a good question, and I don't know.
Brent's talking him up a little bit. And he's a quote unquote national champion in the D2 level, but he's like really, really, really good apparently. So people are freaking out if he starts. It means bad things about the linebacker depth. I don't necessarily agree with that, but
yeah,
it's Deshaun McCullough at Cheetah. Like, if this is our starting secondary next year, Woody and Gentry at corner, and starting Billy Bowman and Reggie Pearson, I would not hate that. With Peyton Bowen getting occasional snaps.
Yeah,
Peyton's still a true freshman. Now,
right? I think keep that in mind.
I think you can put him out there, and Peyton Bowen is going to make plays at some point. He's gonna make one of those plays that you saw him do in high school, where he just reads he just reads the route and reads the throw and just in one smooth motion just like picks it off and takes it back 30, 40 yards. God, it's going to be beautiful. God, it's going to be great.
You know what's going to be crazy is thinking about, I almost want footage of game 1 versus the end of the season and just how much of probably you're going to see the development.
I mean, there's something.
I mean, it's going to be Arkansas State. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, you could do that in December. You just got to wait about 6 months. You're good.
That's all you
gotta do is wait.
That's true. I mean, just wait till the next season. But
like, I have never been in more football love with 2 players
in a long time
than like Peyton Bowen and PJ Adebawore. Because I saw Peyton Bowen, I watched a lot of his high school games with Jackson Arnold, playing there, and then I went and saw PJ in person at the Under Armour game, and I'm just like, God, we don't have anyone like that. He has these gigantic legs and thighs that no regular human should have. It's like,
yeah,
God, he's gonna murder opposing quarterbacks.
But that's what we want.
I know, and it's like,
that's what we want.
God, I can't wait to get to the SEC now. I'm just so excited.
Which is, I saw your video. I think it was yesterday or the day before where you mentioned it's like we're in a lame duck year. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I'm excited for next year. I just don't care about this year. Like,
I care about this year. No, there's lots to care about. There's lots, but no, it's like it's just the nature of the beast because
it's the beyond the surface level caring.
Like we had OU media at SEC Media Days this year, and they're not even a member yet. So,
well, that's because they need OU there. I mean, speaking of that,
like George Stoya, Eddie Radosevich, and Kerry Murdoch all went, and it's just like, yeah. Okay.
I'm not gonna lie.
We cannot wait to get out of this damn conference. That is just like where Mexico's gonna join at some point.
Big 12 International.
Big 12 football.
See that I laughed at that.
Los Raiders.
I gotta give it to Sankey because he I had a full hearty laugh with my coworker when he announced, oh yeah, next year we're gonna be in Arlington for SEC Media Days. And I went, bye Big 12, trying to find a new home.
Well, no, they're gonna be in Dallas. Technically, they're gonna be in the Omni Hotel. So yeah. I'm telling you, like it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen before like the 2030s. But I promise you, the SEC title game will be in Arlington at some point.
Oh,
it is going to happen. It is going to happen.
Oh yeah, Jerry Jones would go insane if it didn't.
I said, listen, the moment like if Jerry's still alive and Arkansas is a viable contender, he'll just kick the Big 12 out. So no, you guys can do a home and home, or you can play in somewhere else.
You know what they
you guys can go play back to Kansas City and Arrowhead and have your championship game there. So.
No, they can go to Orlando. That's what they all said. Well, fine, we'll just go to Orlando before recruiting in Florida. Okay. That you have a team there.
I'm technically 5 miles. I technically live 5 miles away from a Big 12 campus. So
it's true
as of right now.
Until they rebrand next year to Conference USA.
We have
with the
OU
without the dash.
We don't have a date yet, but we know OU is coming to Orlando to play UCF at basketball. So
right. Are you going to go to that one?
I mean, I don't have a date yet. As long as it doesn't conflict with football, I'll go.
Yeah.
But if it's like the same day as like Bedlam or something, I'm like, no.
Right. The I could. I'm trying to remember what I was going to say, but I can definitely see the SEC championship being in Dallas because you get the other side of the fans who want to go, and if they're expecting OU to make it every so often for it, that throws them a bone for it. I wonder if it's going to be a bidding war. If they're going to try to split it back and forth, who knows on it. But yeah, they could go to Arrowhead. Have fun at Arrowhead. I do have to laugh, Sean, because speaking of media days, when I know this is a little outdated for it, but when I was listening to the Big 12 stuff as best as I could, lots of work stuff going on. So I was like, my attention's tied. It wasn't even about the Big 12. It was like OU Texas media days. It's like, oh yeah, the other teams are here, but let's focus on.
Well, yeah, because the two biggest like a lot of the local media area was there. It was there for OU in Texas. Like everyone else was like, "You want to come see Iowa State?" No one wants to talk to anyone from Iowa State.
What about the new schools? Not even the new schools. They don't care.
Well, UCF they were handing out flyers. Some guys there was handing out flyers,
which they didn't have the
it's like the
national
old
championship on. John.
Well, it's like the old
very
Mitch
disappointed.
It's like the old Mitch Hedberg joke. I think about flyers. It's like when someone hands it to you, it's like they're saying, "Here, you throw this away."
I've never heard that before. That's good.
I think about flyers. It's like when someone hands one to you, it's like they're saying, "Here, you throw this away."
That's so weird that they brought flyers.
Well, they got to inform everybody all about the who UCF is, and you have to call them UCF. They're not Central Florida. You can't call them that. They get really pissy if you call them Central Florida.
Okay.
Cool
thing, Central Florida.
I'm like, part of me wants to take my camera kit and just like set up somewhere on campus and say, "Here I am on the campus of Central Florida University." Let's see what happens. Yeah, there were like 21 cameras around the OU because OU was like last on day 2, so they're the last ones. Texas was next to last. Texas was next. They were next to last on day 1. BYU was like the last one, I think.
And didn't you request? Didn't you say they requested to be like last on one of the days? And they
they wanted to be treated like the princesses they were for their Sweet 16, and they did not get that preferential treatment. I guarantee you, everyone in the Big 12 who's still around, they hate Texas way more than they hate us. Like in order to, whenever they try to make fun of OU, it's like, "Oh, you just do whatever Texas wants you to do." It's like,
which is funny because Sankey came out and said, "No, OU was the one that approached us first, guys. Like, let's just throw this out there now."
I don't know who approached first, but I don't really give a shit. It's like you can do the whole Texas saying whatever you want saying. It's like, anyone with a brain can tell that OU is going to have let's be honest here. OU's got momentum going into this year a little bit with recruiting, and if they have a decent season, if they don't win the Big 12, will it suck? Yes. If they can win double-digit games, great. We have plenty of Big 12 trophies. I've said it before and again. Whenever people try to when people try to ho-hum Texas and like try to ride the fence and if Texas doesn't win the Big 12 this year, it's a gigantic failure based on they're picked to win the league, and everyone's hyping them up because they kind of sort of almost beat Alabama. They need to win the Big 12 this year more than anything.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, they're not going to win a conference championship for a long time. It's going to be a long time for Texas Longhorns to win a conference championship. I don't care that they're going to have the SEC patch on too. It's going to be a minute because you know what's going to happen?
Because Sark is there.
Well, no, like Sark's not the problem. We've talked about this for years on end. It's a deep rooted problem in Austin, and Sark is just another victim of circumstance, and he's going to get fired. He won't get fired this year, but year 1 of the SEC, if you don't have instant success, they may try to hold on to him one more time, and then year 2 they'll have to fire him. So I think Sark will be around at least, unless it's just a cataclysmic failure year 1 in the SEC. If it's a cataclysmic failure, he gets fired. If they still have hope and they get like a win here and there, like they're capable of, he'll stick around for another year. But if Texas ain't doing what Texas think they're supposed to do, and then what do? You're stuck in the lion's den, and you're still looking for coaches, and you're still trying to fix things. You're still trying to rebuild.
Well, I feel like I'm quoting a lot of your videos as of late with it on.
Well, it's like...
but it's what you said too. Is they haven't discovered their magical money powers yet. And if they did, it would help out a little bit.
Well, no, they discovered their magical money powers. Fine. That's not the issue here. It's just the fact that they can't put it all together. They can't there's no alignment on that campus.
Yeah.
Like there's alignment on OU's campus. I know we lost that turnip seed. Oh my God. What are we going to do? But no, everything's going to be fine at OU. It's like everyone wants to write us off. Cowherd says we're going to be Nebraska, which is like, okay, you're going to be lazy. I got it. And here's what I want to happen. And this is like a down the road thing.
Yeah.
If the day comes where this team, let's say OU wins an SEC championship year 3.
Year 2. Okay, year 3.
Year 2, whatever. Because winning the championship is not as important as it is now. Because like 3 SEC teams at minimum are making the playoff from now on, starting next year.
Right. I mean,
but it's like
sorry, I have a bit of a cough.
But if OU wins like the SEC in like 2026, I need the fan base to not circle back and validate some of the stupidity, and that applies to me too.
What do you mean? You lost me. You had me, and then it.
Everyone is gonna like tag everyone who said something stupid like years past. I know,
kind of like the Riley thing.
I know it's tempting, and I'm guilty of it myself. But man, it just don't. Because you're feeding into the beast of like you're feeding into the stupid shit like Michael Wilbon did last week. You're feeding into the stupid shit that Cowherd says. You're feeding into the stupid shit a lot of guys say. So
what you're saying is I shouldn't have tweeted or X'd out, whatever it's called now. I shouldn't have said about obviously Kyler, haha, yeah, or Tatum with Riley, haha, because that was actually feeding into what they want.
Well, I mean, he's a little different, but he's just gonna filter it out or block it. He's not gonna respond. Like Riley's not gonna respond to you. What I'm talking about is sure, that's fine. It's his prerogative. But I'm talking about like, if I just want to do clickbait videos, I could do them, and I try to have some sense of like, integrity, or is that not the word I'm looking for? I'm trying not to be that guy. I really am. But man, it would just be so easy to overreact to every little thing everyone says. I could be a Georgia fan who tries to find every little nugget I could find where someone says, no one believes in us. Like, shut the fuck up. No one believes in you.
Hey,
Kirk Street picked Alabama! Oh my God.
Look, I have 2 thoughts on that, because first, that's just how their fan base is. It's the dog, man. The flip side of it, hey,
no,
it really worked to get.
No one said you were going 7-5 last year. You made that up.
They did. Don't get me wrong. They did. But if it motivated them to win a natty, more power to it.
I'm not talking about the team. I'm talking about the fans. The fans they're stupid.
The team had that a little bit.
The ridiculous fans need to stop. Like, please, no one believe. Like, shut up, dude. You've won back-to-back. Listen, there was doubt last year at a point to some extent, but it went away. Once you got to November, that shit was over. When the moment you crushed Tennessee, that was it. It was over. The only time people had a little doubt, you struggled a little bit with Mizzou last year on the road. You came close to losing that game, but that's nitpicking. That's college football. I've seen championship teams. I've seen Nebraska get a kicked ball in the end zone on like 4th down to save their season in '97. I've seen Miami get like a punt return with like 30 seconds left to save their season. I've seen
OU against A&M.
No. I've seen Auburn get 2 miracles in 2013 on their way to playing for a championship. So even the best teams, memorable teams, have moments where, oh shit, this might end it.
I mean, you've seen OU, like I said, 2000 against A&M. We really needed that pick, and we got the pick.
Yeah, we had Torrance Marshall with the pick 6, and even then they still needed to hold on. So it's just the doubt for Georgia is over. Now you need to find a quarterback. Don't get uppity and think you're picked to win the national title, Georgia. You know who likes you? Vegas. Vegas got you picking to win this shit. And if you win 3 in a row, people are trying to go back and say Minnesota did it back in the 30s, which is like questionable or whatever the hell.
It's Minnesota.
That's no, it's not even Minnesota. It's just like this is the most legit. If Georgia wins it again, it's the most legit anything anyone has ever done in college football, without question. It is the most legit anything.
Yeah.
There's no voting, or the UPI likes someone different, or the AP likes someone different, or we vote before bowl games or after. No, you want a playoff and you want it straight up. If you do that,
Right.
you are the GOAT dynasty. It's over. Like, forget what Bama has done under Saban. I'm talking in a short span. No one has done 3 in a row legit. So,
Right.
and people will still hold them to the standard of Nick Saban and Alabama.
I mean,
they'll still do it. They'll still do it. It'll be hilarious.
I mean, that's. I would put the.
So I don't want to hear Georgia fans saying no one believed in us. Fuck you. like Georgia's finally living up to their potential
because they finally accessed that recruiting hotbed, and it's like, oh yay, we finally.
Well, it's not that they couldn't. It's not they didn't access it. It's just the fact that with the SEC, the truth is you do have roadblocks at times. There are times where LSU's in the way, Alabama's in the way, Florida's in the way. Those are legit excuses for why you're not winning at times. That's why that's why they hype up the SEC as the toughest conference. It's what everyone else had problems with. It's like, it's a tough time to go play Mississippi State. Shut up. Oh, Kentucky, better watch out. Bite me. With all this shit. It's like, no. Like, certain schedules are not as difficult. That is true. Like, the thing with Georgia, the reason they get uppity is because the SEC East is complete trash now. Now Tennessee has has shown up as a viable contender now, but Georgia at Neyland this year, that will be fun. I'm rooting for Heupel a little bit. I hope Heupel wins that one because they got the monkey off their back with Bama. God, if they still had Hendon Hooker and that that Hyatt kid who had 5 T's, if they still had those two, I would be riding Tennessee a little higher. Man, that's a tough outfield. You have Joe Milton and Tennessee though recruiting, man. Heupel doing some work. So
yeah, I mean, he's living up. It's the thing I've always believed that Bob was holding him back a little bit. Well, no, he had to go out and make mistakes and learn. Like I know Heupel is still bitter at Bob, but yeah, he still very much is.
It's like, dude, it's the same thing with Venables. They both became better coaches because they went out and did shit on their own without the safety net of Bob Stoops. When you go out there and you don't have that safety net, now granted, he was under Dabo, but Brent made Dabo Sweeney. I think if you put truth serum in any Clemson fan, they're scared because Brent's gone. I think a lot of them are scared. We're not as good as we used to be. They lost to a South Carolina team they had no business losing to, in my opinion. They that home winning streak they had, that kind of similar to what we had, that's gone because Shane Bieber came to town. And so I think you put true serum in Clemson fans, they still get recruits. They still get good recruiting classes. They've had some good wins, but man, I guarantee you they're still a little nervous about Brent and Todd Bates not being there. So we'll see how that turns out.
And still people are bitching about Todd Bates too.
They probably won't be in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So in 6 weeks, we'll see if they're bitching about Todd Bates.
But people like to bitch.
If we get Winari and first of all, if we get Winari and he verbally commits, we still got to fight for him till the bitter fucking end. So he's the number 1 player in the country. Yeah, that fight's not going to end just with a verbal commitment. Because Georgia's still going to try everything they can, and then Mizzou, because of the in-state thing, there's a thing with the in-state of like wanting to stay close to home, but just is that enough just to go to Mizzou? That's the thing.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Well, and I've been wrong, but I don't think it is, man.
It's. I mean, it was for Luther Burden, so because he made a business decision. Some of the Missouri kids are weird, man, but I still think. End of the day, worst case scenario, I still think we get David Stone, Nigel Smith. That's still really good class with Jaden Jackson. If you said you get Jaden Jackson, David Stone, and Nigel Smith, great.
Yeah. I think I mentioned it earlier. I think David's going to commit soon, but I had a friend ask me,
you think, like, dude, David is like,
I hope, but a friend asked me, like, how much in danger are we with David? I'm like, I don't think so.
We're not in danger. It's just the fact that
he's taken a while.
It's just one of those things where it's like David Stone loves the attention. He's an attention whore. That's just the truth. He loves getting the attention. So what was hilarious is that he was in He was in the chat. He was in the YouTube chat for Jane Jackson's commitment on the YouTube stream.
Oh yeah. And
everyone thought he was going to commit like on July 28th or whatever, and it's like, no, that's just when I'm going back to school for training camp for high school at IMG. And everyone thought, because he made it, everyone it's oh my god, you commit on the July, just like no, he's not doing that.
Yeah.
And so it's like David Stone is such a troll, man. Come on,
it was funny. He actually had to cut with sport. I think Carrie, where it's like, its date just means he's training. It doesn't mean like, oh, it's that first interest. He's going to commit somewhere else.
He trolled. He trolled the entire fan base when that fake graphic got put out that he committed to OU, and then he retweeted it, and he's like, nah, this is like. So I'll tell you what, he need to commit to OU at the end of this, or else he's gonna get a lot of hate go his way from stupid people. I'm gonna be like, all right, kid's gonna be a kid, whatever. We'll just move on. But the stupid people will attack him. They will take that personally.
It will be the exact same situation like Hicks was. I mean, it will be the exact same thing on it.
Yeah, that was a giant middle finger to everybody, but that was about money. That was strict. That literally was a quote unquote business decision.
Funny enough, speaking of business decisions and things as well, A&M. You talk about our recruiting class. How's that turned out for A&M? Because it hasn't. All those big guys who have not contributed at all. Essentially.
Well, they got Bobby. Well, hang on, they got Bobby Petrino now, and so he and Jimbo are going to work great together. There's going to be no conflict. Yeah. There's going to be no conflicts. There's going to be no drama. Everything's hunky dory in College Station. So
absolutely. I'm sorry, I forgot all.
They're finally the A&M is finally going to live up to their potential to being third in the SEC West. It's going to be a fantastic job by Jimbo. A lot of people like LSU to win the West this year.
I can see it.
Well, hang on there, son. They're saying Alabama's not winning the West. So whoa.
Is Nick Saban on the hot seat? More at 11 guy. No, I could see it.
Yeah, you hear Lane Kiffin just get on. Lane Kiffin's like one of the best at SEC Media Days. Like, you got Paul Feinbaum telling everybody that Alabama's dynasty is over and just pissing off Nick Saban. Is like, I will say, thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
As much
Lane's
as
like
jackass that Lane is, but he speaks the truth, man. Like,
Lane's like,
I respect it.
Damn it, son of a
bitch. It's funny. It's absolutely funny.
Who the hell's like Tyler Buckner is going to be their quarterback? Like, you see, if this was 10 years ago, Bama, it's like, all right, you're going to have a game manager as your quarterback. Okay. But that's not their offense anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's one thing if they were like, AJ's going to hand the ball off to Derrick Henry or TJ Yeldon, then he's just going to play action to Amari Cooper. That's not their offense anymore. So it's like, they don't have that. Bryce Young had to make a lot of superhero plays from last year, and that's Alabama.
Yeah.
Like Bryce Young literally made hero plays.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. And a lot of people are ignoring that because it's the same thing. Oh, Bama's in trouble because they actually were looking for a quarterback. They had to transfer portal in. That's, to me, a red flag.
I do think, though, it's not good. I do think it's not going to matter when Texas comes in because I think that crowd is going to be so damn hostile.
Oh, I agree.
They're going to be so, like, that Tuscaloosa crowd is going to be out for blood. They won the game last year.
Because they got embarrassed.
I do think so because they keep hearing about Quinn Ewers, if he wouldn't have gotten hurt, he would have won the game. There was the play in the end zone that may or may not have been an incomplete pass or a safety, and I always tell Texas fans, like, you know, if Xavier Worthy doesn't drop a wide open touchdown pass in the end zone and you don't miss a chip shot field goal at the end of the first half, guess what? There's 4 points you missed there. There's 3 points you missed there. That's 7 points. You probably win the game. Yeah. Oh, and make a stop at the end too. You know,
well, that game, how obnoxious would the Texas fans have been if they would have won that game?
Oh, they would have been rightfully obnoxious. And I was watching the game live, like on stream. I was rooting for them to win because I can turn my hatred off for a good football game, for like a good story. Like, if you want proof of me that I can turn that shit off, go watch my watch along stream because I'm rooting for those motherfuckers to win that game. But guess what? You don't win it and you make all the excuses. Well, Xavier Worthy was playing with a broken hand. And I was like, that's not my problem. Sounds like a you problem. And he still played. So if you want to say, okay, his hand is better, you want to hype up all your wide receiver group where a couple of guys who were either injured or problem children elsewhere are going to do great things. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Jatavion Sanders too at tight end. I think he's a really good player, but your offensive line you think is better. Okay. I don't think Quinn is that good though. Like, he's this 5-star plus quarterback y'all tell me about, and y'all can't decide which backup quarterback you like best. You hyped up Arch since he was born, since he got shot out of the womb by Mrs. Manning, and then you have another guy who's a backup, who's been a backup for forever, who looks good with his shirt off. By the way, great collab photo there with all the QBs with their abs, fantastic. You grind meat on all those abs. Roar! It's just like. I mean, is that going to help you complete a forward pass in a game that matters? No, it's not going to. It's like you having great abs is not going to make you a great quarterback.
Are you sure though?
No. Like, are you trying to be Mr. Universe, or do you want to win a Big 12 championship? You tell me.
I don't know. You tell me.
Like, Texas has like the tough the Big 12 hates Texas more than OU because they gave Texas the harder schedule.
They did.
Like, they hate them way more than they hate us. It's like all right, Texas, you can get K-State, you're gonna get Baylor, you're gonna get Texas Tech, you're gonna get all these you're playing Bama too. You're gonna have all these games. OU, you're gonna get Texas and OSU, and we're going to give you Central Florida. We're going to give you TCU Black Friday game, end of the year, where it may not even matter. Kansas, you got to play, I guess. We'll see if Daniels can stay healthy.
What you're actually mentioning, and I know this was a while back, but it's on my mind. I had no issues with it. What's your thoughts of the Big 12 like preseason stuff? Because I know it's preseason. We'll look back on it.
Like what specifically?
Who was labeled like, oh, you haven't just one player with Ethan Downs and stuff.
Oh,
again, I know that was a while back. I'm like,
I can't.
I get it.
They're picking but I can't. There. But I can't get mad about that this year. There's something to get mad about.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, maybe you could argue Dylan a little bit. But that's it. But that's it. I can't. I really maybe Billy Bowman to an extent.
That's what I was gonna say. Is out of everybody, I wouldn't have picked Ethan Downs at least. Maybe Billy Bowman over that. Maybe Woody Washington. I'm not mad. So it's like last year.
I'm
not mad. Don't get me wrong.
Last year it was like, okay, it was a slap in the face, but it's like, okay, this year it's like, all right, we gotta go prove it. I like to have something to prove this year. So. mean, everyone for OU that they're trying to circle games they can lose. It's like, okay, you got Cincinnati. Cincinnati is not going to be that great this year. So
No,
if you go up to Cincinnati and struggle, then there's more problems than we realized.
Texas is a realistic one.
Yeah, Texas is the one game you look at, and it's like, okay. Like everyone's saying, Texas, like on paper, is better than Oklahoma. I was like, okay. You can say that all you want.
Okay, on paper, neat.
Yeah, well, like, Texas has been better on paper for lots of years. Now, Texas has not been annually picked to the Big 12 year after year or anything like that, but they are. And it's one of those years where it's like, okay.
What about I think a good game, if he can stay healthy, is I think Kansas will be a good game with it because I like their quarterback. Their quarterback is awesome.
Yeah, we're going to get to late October, but can the Kansas QB stay healthy?
Yeah. And I do not think.
Can Jalen Daniels stay healthy? Is the question. Because that was his problem last year. It's like we were rooting for Kansas to do things last year. It's like, oh, maybe he's hurt.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean,
ironically,
we had he was hurt. We got the quote. We got the benefit of him not playing last year. We still had a shootout with him in Norman. We won the game. That's when we broke out the new alt uniforms last year.
Yeah, I was there.
So
the uniforms.
I mean, OU's got 2 back-to-back road game situations. We have Tulsa, if you can call it a road game. It's technically a road game. It's not in Norman. And then you go to Cincinnati. And then you have Kansas and OSU back-to-back. So
yeah.
I don't think OSU is going to be that good. So it's like,
man, the people who keep talking up OSU make me laugh. I'm like, guys, you lost a lot of your roster.
For what?
Like, that they're going to be in the Big 12 championship. They're going to be
no one's one person picked OSU, and apparently it was
Robert Allen.
No, it was not Robert Allen. The guy who picked him was a guy who writes for the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas, and his reasoning is like, I'm picking them because Mike Cundy's the best coach in the Big 12. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you don't fucking pay attention to college football. He's an NFL guy who put in a vote. And so he's like, I'm picking the best coach, bro.
He hasn't even earned his paycheck.
It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's how you lose your vote preseason very, very, very fast. Yeah, that I wouldn't even put him in the top 3. Like, I think OSU will end in the top half of the Big 12, but that's like 7. That's nothing to write home about. They have a lot of roster turnover. I don't have faith in who they brought in. I think Gundy's grifting at this point. Like, well, continuing to grift.
Gundy's been grifting for a while.
And that's all he has, because the moment they bring up the criticism, well, OU's the one that ended Bedlam. So, yeah, I mean, Gundy's been grifting.
Well, people will set him up for that because they know what he's going to say. And they're trying to start shit. And it's like, okay. We all know Bedlam could easily happen if the people in Stillwater wanted it to happen.
Exactly, and they don't.
All the other sports can apparently still happen, but no, we can't do football. You know what I mean? Because we have all these games against these MAC schools and FCS schools. We got to keep going on, and we're going to do. I mean,
they should have really doubled down and said, no, we're not playing you in any other sport. Oh, you should have really done that, but that's me.
I wonder how OSU is going to feel. Kelly Maxwell allegedly visited OU a couple days ago for the pitcher, for the softball pitcher, and still waiting on that. We'll see what happens.
The funny part is I asked, I was curious on Dad's opinion, and I asked him, because he's sad that Bedlam's not going to happen. And I told him, I'm like, dude, be honest with me. Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina, or OSU at home. Tell me which one you would pick and be honest. And he picked Bama, Tennessee, and South Carolina.
None of those are going to be rivals per se, but
they're more exciting. He's like, honestly, I'd love to go to that Bama game because that's probably the most exciting since Ohio State came in many years back. Like, yeah,
it's the biggest home non-conference game. Well, it won't be a non-conference game; it'll be a conference game. You have to think with people, because when people look at it as a non-conference game, it's like, The biggest conference game that OU has ever hosted in Norman
was Kansas State.
No.
Back in 2002.
No,
Yeah,
they didn't. They didn't play K-State in 02.
They didn't. No.
No.
You said the biggest conference game. It's Nebraska then.
Yeah, it's Nebraska 2000.
Yeah, I was gonna say
we played Nebraska. We played K-State in 01, like a week or two after the 9/11 thing. So that was like our big return to playing football.
Yeah. And that's
Iowa State,
that goes beyond the game.
The 02 Iowa State game was supposed to be big, and then it just you just destroyed them in the first half.
Number 1, Nebraska, OU. Number 2, OU Texas Tech 08. Easy.
Yeah, I mean conference game. Yeah, that was the last really big conference game. Where it's like where everyone had to pay attention. I mean, you could pick TCU in 17 if you want a little bit, but for the most part, like that's the thing people are going to get excited about because
we always lose.
We're gonna finally have some big time home conference games.
Yeah. Because we're the ones that go to the other other stadiums and
we're everyone's big game. That's not the case anymore. For at least half the SEC, it's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to be LSU's biggest game per se. It'll be a big game. Will it be the biggest? No.
Yeah.
Like that's the new world we're going to be living in, which is going to be interesting and different and fun because I like the idea that I want to walk in there with a chip on our shoulder, and then I was like, oh, like I want to hear people say it's not a big game. I want to hear some of them. Here's the thing: the first couple years we do this, there's going to be like the new car smell feel to it, where everyone's going to hype it up. But once you get to year 3, 4, and 5, is when you really start to see, okay, who's really going to respect the game and who's not. Like Kentucky will treat us as a big deal, probably. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
LA, like, because there's going to be games or we're going to play LSU at noon or something. That might happen. People would don't like 11 a.m. kickoffs. SEC got 11 a.m. kickoffs all the time, folks. All the time. So do not be shocked if we're on ESPN or ESPN2 or SEC Network and we're playing Auburn or somebody like in like late September, early October. That's going to happen. So.
Yeah. You're making me look at let me type this in. You're making me look at old home games and seem like who's the highest ones. A lot of it's Nebraska.
Think about it. We go to Auburn. It's like, what's bigger for Auburn? Alabama, Georgia. Those are the games they really hype up. Those are the ones they care about more.
Yeah.
For us, we're going to come in like it might be a big game if we're ranked high or something, or if they're ranked high or something, but people, I mean, I'm just excited that everything is like being the preparation and everything we have going into this conference. Like we might get smacked in the face at some point, but
and that's inevitable though. Like,
but it's like
happen.
But like the way recruiting's going right now, I mean, we're not going to be ill prepared. So that's what I'm looking forward to. It's just
you gotta let Brent cook. Gotta let him cook.
And we're gonna win plenty of battles. Like we can. The one thing I want to do is take over the state of Texas and recruiting again, and it can happen.
Yeah,
it can. All you have to do, you need a couple more years of Brent running his deal in our uniforms and not having to hype up what Clemson did back in 2018. Like we were having a conversation earlier today. Like everyone's getting hyped up about the potential of if we get all these guys on the D line for this class.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, this is the best class that anyone who was ever gotten is like, well, I don't know. They got to do stuff first before we all.
Right.
But imagine if we did get Winari Stone, Nigel Smith,
they would
throw McKinley in there.
They might be favored at some points for like.
Well, no. If let me put it this way, if they get, let's just let's just like pencil in. And when Ari Stone, Nigel Smith, McKinley, we get a Koei as well, and then you have PJ Abari. You go into 2025, not 24, you go into 2025 and 2026. They're national title contenders if they live up to the hype.
Yeah.
Like if all the
yeah,
because there isn't one national championship team you can think of in recent memory that didn't have a dominant defensive line. Not
you're
one.
right. There was,
isn't one.
I mean, that was, I saw something similar on that. It was like Blue Bloods, that, and there was something else on it. It's like, yeah.
Like that, like when we lost to Bama in the Orange Bowl, and it's like, and then they go on to play Clemson. That line that Clemson had destroyed them. Like Tua had no chance. Like Dexter Lawrence leading that group. My God, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It's like, oh my God. I think for a lot of people, that was the night. If you didn't miss Brent already, you did that night.
Yeah.
You really missed Brent that night. Now, Greg, they won in 2016. They had that because they had that amazing final shootout with where Clemson won on the last play with 1 second left.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, 2 years later with Trevor Lawrence at QB, and they just dominated the line.
They destroyed people.
And think about it. Our line couldn't do shit. Like that was the gap. Like I walked away that night. I'm like, the only hope you had of beating that team was Kyler had to be perfect. And as good as Kyler was, he had to be absolutely perfect. And my hope was Ronnie Perkins wasn't quite Ronnie Perkins yet. I remember having conversations with Jesse. It's like if Ronnie Perkins has the night of his life or something, maybe something happens. But it's like
even then,
we did not have the horses on the D line. Just not even close.
Yeah.
And it's just
so
if it's 6 weeks from now, we're having serious conversations about Winari and if we just have Winari. I think if Winari happens, that's a big domino to fall. I think we're gonna start seeing some shit. But
right.
Like Nigel Smith's gonna happen in September. McKinley's the wild card to me. Dominic McKinley's the wild card because man, there's a lot. There's smoke out there for OU. I'm telling you, man. Brian Kelly and that staff did something to piss off McKinley and his family. They did something stupid. And now he's taking a visit. He's going to be visiting LSU soon. So this all could change. Listen, this all could change in a week, or they make good and make peace because
they don't want to lose. Right.
Well, no, you can't losing a guy. Now, don't get me wrong. LSU has recruited Louisiana very well. Go look at their class right now. They're doing fine. But the optics, everyone talks about the optics of OU losing guys in state and all the time. The optics of Brian Kelly losing 5-star Dominic McKinley, not to Alabama or Georgia, losing to Oklahoma at this stage. The optics are not good. So, but there's something right now. There's enough smoke out there to go. Because 2-3 months ago, he was mentioned offhand as a guy. And I'm like, guys, look, he's he's a Louisiana kid. He's going to LSU. Just let that go. Well, man, the more this drags out, if he was you thought he would have been done already, but he's not. And it's more this drags out. I'm
worried.
No, I'm not worried. I'm starting to sip. I'm not drinking it, but I am starting to. I am sipping the Kool-Aid. I'm not drinking it. I'm taking a sip. I'm going to take a sip. And if that happens,
national championship in a couple years.
Well, no, the running joke is he can't. The running joke is that he wants to commit to OU, but he can't because he won't be able to leave the state because the Cajuns are that crazy, or they'll have to hide it. They'll have to get witness protection for he and his entire family. I'm being a little facetious, but not really.
I was gonna say, are you? But are you not?
We need to get the Mayflower to show up at midnight.
Yeah.
It's just the Mayflower truck, and it's like, all right, well, don't worry, we'll get you a nice house in Norman. We'll get you all.
I was looking at the. I was curious while we were talking. I was looking at the biggest home games for OU. Taking out Nebraska, yeah. This game, I think each day we get closer to OU Alabama, regardless of what its rank is, it's going to be massive.
I think college game day has already like booked.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's where they're going to be that day.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking. It's like what games were truly big, and then it's like after OU, pretty much 2000 Nebraska.
We're also.
State.
We're also like 6-7 weeks away from finding out what days those games are going to happen.
I fully expect it's going to be week 3 for Alabama. Open up the SEC homer for 2020.
You think it'll be week 3?
Yeah, week 3.
I mean, I agree with you. I think it'll be the first SEC home game.
I think they want to make it a spectacle. I've heard. I don't know how true it
is. They're gonna want both teams to have a record. They want them to be both unblemished, more than likely.
Correct. But I've heard the rumor that they want OU Bama the evening game, and they want Texas Georgia the midday game. That's what I keep hearing the same day to say. Look at us.
So they want Texas.
I don't know how.
So they want Texas Georgia at like the 3:30 slot. Yeah. And then they would want OU Bama to be.
I've heard that. I believe everything. Texas Georgia.
What a day of football that would be! Oh my
it'd be
God.
Great if it's true.
What a day.
I believe the college game day. I believe the week 3, and I believe it a night game. I don't believe the Texas Georgia because I want those ratings.
Man, would they really stack them both at the same time though? Because
my understanding is yes. If you believe the rumor, it's so they.
But they want. But you have to remember, ESPN's got all the SEC now, so they're going to want to have game day they're going to want to be at both of those games if possible. So I could see 1 week is OU Bama, the next week is Texas Georgia. You know what I mean?
That's why I don't believe the Texas Georgia one. But it does make sense if you're trying to flex. What a flex that would be on that. And
but Fowler and Herb, but Fowler and Herb Street can only go to one game. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah, a little difficult to fly from Austin to Norman within about a 2-hour span, if that.
Well, not even that. It's like more like 20 minutes. So it's just I don't think they would do that per se.
I don't either. I like I said, I believe week.
Because why can't you have Tech? Because Texas Georgia wants to be that deserves to be a night game too, just for helmets.
Yeah. Correct. Correct. That's the one rumor I don't believe.
Like Georgia and Texas played like in the early '80s. I want to say.
Yeah.
Or was that Auburn? Was that Auburn or Georgia? I don't know if they like
for Texas.
Let me check it real quick. Winsipedia.
You and I are going to the same one.
That's right, bitch.
Let's see.
Georgia, Texas. Compare teams. Yeah, they played. Oh, they played in the 50s.
Man,
obviously they played the bowl game a couple years back.
Right.
Here it is. Yeah, the 80s, 84. UGA won 10-9. Vince Dooley versus Fred Akers. I knew they played in the 80s. That's why I was like, okay. So that was the year I was thinking of.
Yeah, because the last time they played Auburn was in '87.
God,
Auburn won.
What a random see. It's like.
And it was at Auburn.
I'm disappointed we're not doing the swamp yet. So I gotta wait a year or two before I can make that drive up. And
I'm not disappointed. I like what we have with it.
No. I'm not disappointed with the schedule. I'm just saying it's like I gotta wait another year or two before. And Florida might be better. I mean, Florida's recruiting is. I mean, people were making fun of Billy Napier like 6 months ago. Now it's like a different story. Florida's definitely turned it around in recruiting. So we'll see what they call Sunbelt Billy. That's what they were calling him. And it's like, well, Florida, like if Florida, like we got a lot of good games this year. We got Florida, Utah, and Salt Lake City.
Texas, Bama. That will be a good game regardless. I think. I think
Ohio State, Notre Dame, going in South Bend.
Notre Dame plays USC as well, don't they?
Well, that's an annual game. They play it regardless. That's a rivalry.
Why am I thinking then every other year?
Well, no, that's an annual. That's like that's the one big rivalry game they have.
Am I? I'm
like Notre Dame's biggest rival is USC.
Right. I'm thinking of another one then at that point.
Which at the Big Ten was smart. They should hold a gun to Notre Dame's head and say, if you want to play any of your rival games that you like so much in the Big Ten, you'll join the Big Ten.
Yeah. I mean, they got to play that Navy game, though.
Well, Navy threw them a bone when they were desperate. They were a poor little old Catholic school that nobody wanted to play, and so they will always play Navy regardless. It's a so I kind of respect that a little bit. There's a reason behind that, but
there's also two. Do you think Penn State at Ohio State's going to be good as well?
Well, yeah, but that's an annual game too. That's a conference game, so
yeah. I'm trying to see.
That's a Big Ten East game. So Penn State believes they got a quarterback this year. They're hyping up their new QB, so we'll see.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Yeah, because I was trying.
I have no idea who's playing quarterback for Ohio State.
I don't either.
I couldn't tell you what his name is.
I couldn't either.
Because I'm so not focused on any of those games. Like I said, it's like JJ McCarthy at Michigan and Caleb Williams at USC, and that's kind of like the notable quarterbacks you can think of who were got the Heisman winner at SC, you got JJ McCarthy who was in the playoff, I guess, and then I'm sorry, Quinn Ewers is not a notable quarterback. He hasn't done shit.
No, he hasn't. You know what's going to look like a sneaky good game? It's not like a Ohio State Notre Dame. I'm just looking at like the game stuff. I'm actually really September 9th, Utah at Baylor. I think that's going to be a sneaky good game.
Yeah, I'm probably going to roll with Utah on that one.
Oh, I will too. But I think it's going to be much better than what people are going to get.
I just don't know enough about Baylor this year. It's like, it's weird for me because I've paid so little, like the Big 12 for this one-off year with the Big 12. It's like, normally I would look at Baylor, I would look at Tech, I look at K-State, I look at all these teams, and I don't have a reason to right now. I'm not saying I should, I'm not, but it's like K-State should be favored to win the conference. Like fuck Texas for a minute. I don't know why Texas is favored. It should be Kansas State. I don't know why Kansas. Like if you want to talk about the disrespect card, K-State should be favored. K-State were like, oh, they lost Deuce Vaughn. So fucking what? They returned. They have like 9 super seniors that are like 6-year guys, and it's like, okay, they don't have Deuce Vaughn. Like K-State should be picked to win the conference.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think they are being played disrespectful for it. I said I'm surprised that they are not over Texas. For it, but
I mean they're second place, but it's like these fuckers won the league. Like people forget, like TCU went to the playoff, but these fuckers actually won the league.
Yeah,
this is K-State's schedule. I think Will Howard's QB, who's is what it is, but like K-State, they'll win week 1, they'll win week 2, they'll beat Missouri. I'm picking K-State to beat Missouri. I think they'll beat UCF. They'll beat OSU. That game against Tech will be fun on the road on the 14th of October. They host TCU, and I think they'll beat TCU. Houston's a wild card. They're at Texas on November 4th. That's the big one. Like K-State schedule at in November at Texas, Baylor, at Kansas, hosting Iowa State. That's that 3-game stretch with Texas, Baylor, Kansas.
Yeah,
that's going to define their season. So like, as long as they don't have a bunch of injuries, like, I just I don't have a Phil Steele in front of me. Turning starters.
You're telling me you don't have a physical book, even though we've talked about it?
I haven't bought a Phil Steele in like years. I really haven't.
Well, apparently too, he's kind of fallen a little bit on his stuff. Like, I think Pick 6 is the new one now. Like everybody.
Pick 6 has been like the #1 magazine or accuracy. Okay, returning starters. Here we go. K-State's got 12, the most starters back is Kansas at 17.
Yeah.
Iowa State at 16. OU's got 12. K-State's got 12. TCU's got 11. Texas got 15 starters back.
Well, that's the one thing that worries me with us is we have a very young team. I think something I forgot if it was like 60 or 90 kids on it. It's like first or second year. They're young.
The problem with like trying to do the old school, how many returning starters you have and all that shit, the portal fucks all that up.
Right.
So it's like, how many guys are OU high on that they portaled? They're high on Walter Rouse at left tackle. They're high on Bothroyd at defensive end. They're high on Deshaun McCullough from Indiana. All those really good players that are going to play key roles this year. So they're not returning starters, but they're impact players. Deshaun McCullough is going to be an impact player. Walter Rouse at left tackle is going to be an impact player.
I'm trying to remember. It was something Venables said where it was like how many years they actually started, not just like they're transferring in. It was something.
Well, McCullough was a freshman last year, but he made an impact at Indiana. It is so different nowadays because you go back to like 2010, and the formula for trying to pick it was a lot simpler back then because I did a video like my early days of doing this shit. I picked like 5 teams in 2010 I thought would be a championship contender. Yes, OU was on the list. But I had Auburn on the list.
Yeah.
In 2010 and it's like I looked at Auburn's schedule. I look at who they had coming back. I said Auburn has all their tough games at home except one, Alabama. That's the one where, and then so that the schedule, they returned all these starters. And I said, you better watch out for this JUCO quarterback by the name of Cam Newton. I think he's going to be good.
I wonder how that worked out.
Because OU was recruiting him really hard, and we'll see. But apparently Landry Jones scared him off. And boy, that he had just and then Cam Newton had one of the more single dominant seasons I've ever seen anyone ever have. But yeah, you could tell by if a team had 9 starters back on defense, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And if they were a pretty up there team, it's like, okay, they're gonna be good. If you have it's quarterback, defense, coach, schedule. That's how I did it back in the day. Quarterback, defense, coach, schedule. Is your coach worth a shit? And that's how I picked Auburn to do something.
Yeah.
And it's like they weren't my first pick, but they were on my list of title contenders. And it's like, oh, what do you know?
But now you can't.
You can't really do that anymore. It's like you have to try to figure out it's like a game. All right, it's like a game of Where's Waldo. Okay, where are they now? Because all the if you're not a big time program, it's like. Two things have to be fixed: NIL and the portal. And they're trying to get we could do. I'm not going to go deep dive on NIL because it's not that interesting for everybody. But they're trying to get Congress involved. And good fucking luck getting Congress to fix your problems. You need to do it yourself. But the portal's the other thing.
The only thing that really get Congress involved with the NIL at this point, it has to affect the IRS stuff. If it does, then yes, they.
I'm not going to get into that because it's a whole.
No, I'm just saying
that's a long. But you go down. You go down a
right, and I agree with you on that. They're not.
You could go down a long hole and talk about it, but I'm starting to think, and the coaches might agree with this. You're going to have to go back to sitting out a year if you transfer. I think the whole. I think if every single coach, if you want to transfer, you need to sit out a year.
Yeah, and my understanding
I think that has to change. It has to go back.
I've heard it as well because we kind of talked about it. I'm also hearing too. It's not just the coaches complaining about the transfer portal as well. It's the writers too because they said we don't have lives anymore. We have to be at our computers. And I'm hearing they're having a very strong voice of there needs to be some limits on this thing.
Well, the writers, no one gives a fuck about what happens to them. All their
No, I know. However, I think they're going to add to that where something has to happen.
I'm not saying, let me put it this way. I'm not going to sit here and say that guys can't transfer media. I think grad transfers should still be allowed if you have 1 year left. Like if you have 1 year left and you're not playing, I think it has to be very situational.
Right.
It's like the idea that you could just jump in and go wherever. I still think you should have that opportunity, but depending on your situation, I don't think you could like. They need that. What happened with Pitt with Jordan Addison and frankly us and Caleb Williams. I mean, I'm not saying we're poor innocent victim Oklahoma because we're not the ones who are being victimized on the regular, but like
right.
Look at who we took. We're benefactors of this too. So I'm not going to sit here and saying and point fingers. Like, well, we've got a ton of guys from the portal, but Walter Rouse is a 1 year guy. Bothroyd is a 1 year guy. Deshaun McCullough, not a 1 year guy. He gonna be here for a couple of years. So we ripped off Indiana. He really likes he still really likes the color scheme. He just wanted to play in the SEC. But yeah, I do think for the sport, for a little bit more stability for other programs, you have to go back to the 1 year sitting out rule for the most part.
I agree with that. You have to do something to control it with it, especially with how NIL exists, and it ain't gonna be that. Sean, wrap up. So, you got any final things? Anything to promote on channel? Anything?
Not really. We're gonna be Eugene Brooks going to commit to OU on Tuesday, so that's kind of all that's going on right now. And then we have Michael Patterson McDonald, or he's going to commit on the 31st.
Yeah.
And once we get to August 1st, it's the Winari watch. Maybe he'll do it on the 1st. Maybe he'll do it the week of the 7th. Yeah. I don't know. People keep on. There's multiple conflicting reports on when he's going to commit. I usually like it when kids come out and put out graphics saying when they're going to do this shit because it's coming from them. But sometime in August, Winari's going to commit, apparently. So that's kind of.
And the countdown's on at this point for 40 days till kickoff.
And once we get to August, all of you fuckers better get ready to slow down time because you think football is so close. But you talk about it so much, it slows down to a crawl. Because July goes by quick, but once you get to August, it's like no.
You're right, except I have Bobby, so it makes it go fast until it doesn't. But you're right.
You all gonna watch preseason NFL football and pretend to like it. That's what all you fuckers are gonna do.
Yep.
Every year preseason football is back. Yeah, you watch NFL preseason games all you want.
Yep. Get all that before the roster cut. So, guys, I want to thank y'all for attending tonight, guys. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, so when we go live, when I upload a video, all
I got a beat
with it. You got a what? I guess he had to go, guys. So just again, be sure to spread the word of the channel to friends, have them watch and everything like that, as well as have it on background, everything. So again, guys, Boomer Sooner, only one Oklahoma. We'll see y'all here a couple weeks. We're about to hit the new schedule, get back to regular schedule because of the season coming up and everything. So again, watch the channel, guys. Boomer Sooner.